All right, so now we're gonna do the crispy skinned salmon. First, we're gonna start with this little andouille tomato and like corn stew. Actually, to start, I want to get this on a burner. Sounds like a jet.
I have not seen that before.
So yeah, we're gonna just char this right on the open flame just to kind of get some marks on it.
And I'll just give it more flavor.
I think so, yeah. And for the andouille, I'm gonna take the skin off before we cut it.
Is your rule of thumb like if it peels off like that, take it off?
That's how I look at it, yeah.
Me too.
Snap, crackle, pop. And then we're gonna incorporate this into the stew at the end once we get a little bit of color on there. It's easier on like if you have like a resting rack or something like that.
Yeah.
But these burners are just kind of wide. But very nice. There we go. All right, these we're gonna cut into about a little bigger cubes, maybe like 3/4 of an inch by 3/4 of an inch. These by no means have to be perfect. These probably will crumble up in the pan. Not like a traditional sausage, but these aren't going to be like a perfect dice. I just love pork product and seafood as well. Andouille is just such I feel like a classic New Orleans ingredient. And it's weird. I'm one of those guys, like I'm from Seattle, so I don't want to, in my career, I never really tried to come down here and make gumbo and do these things that you can find somewhere better at someone's mom's house. So I've just been trying to incorporate some of these local ingredients into my style of cooking. And it's been worked out for me pretty all right. All right, check the corn.
Are you going to do that with all the corn or just the one?
Just the one. The other one we're going to grate for the fresh corn grits.
I thought that'd be pretty hot to grate.
Oh, yeah, exactly. This little end we're going to just chop up too. All right, friendly bench scraper. I'm going to move the pot closer to me. All right. Get that one nice and low. A little bit of oil. That's snap, crackle, pop. That's what you're looking for. This is going. Forgot it has the afterburners.
Nobody at home can do that.
Yeah, you can use a wok on this. All right, I think that's good. We'll set that there to cool down. All right, while our andouille is going, we're gonna cut a red onion. So I'll cut the base off. I like to keep the root on. A lot of people don't, but I can show you two ways to do this. And then I'll peel this side. Cut that little piece off.
Hold on. Hey, Dad. You want to cut an onion? You want to learn how to cut an onion?
Okay.
You want to learn how to cut an onion?
No.
Oh, come on. You don't want a chef to, he'll tell you what to do.
Yeah, oh, I said.
Oh, okay.
All right, so we'll peel both. All right, so I like to start doing the vertical lines here, or excuse me, horizontal, all the way to like the base, to the base. And I think I can get one tiny bit more. And then I'll flip it, and then with the heel of the knife, I've actually just picked this up.
Oh, I haven't seen that before.
It kind of helps keep it all together. And then you just kind of, you can set that aside and then just run your knife straight down. And you have pretty even little dices.
Wow, you made it look easy.
I mean, I've been doing this a long time, so. And then you can just kind of trim this up. Another way in the more fine dining restaurants where you want like micro cuts, I can show you one way real fast. Put this aside. So what they'll do is take this and quarter it, and then they'll just take individual petals and if you want like a very fine like dice,
Oh, wow.
that's how you get your like really square micro like brunoise onions, which is a time and place for everything, but for this it's a little bit more rustic. I just wanted to show you guys that there's another way.
All right.
And an easier way too, if you think about it, it's just a little bit slower.
I was hoping you'd want to get your hands dirty.
Check the andouille, give it a stir. You can turn this up just a touch. All right, for the tomatoes, I like to actually grate them. So we'll cut this in half. And I really like this technique because you don't get any of the skin in there, you just get all of that good stuff.
And are you essentially like juicing the tomato almost?
It's like literally grating it. I mean, it's like, 'cause there's like some
Pulp?
there's
if
some
that's the right
pulp in
word?
there. Yeah, exactly. A lot of the juice, but you just, you're avoiding all of the skin. So I think you get it's just, to me, it's just a better product. And these you can like dehydrate and make a tomato powder or roast. But we're just gonna omit them. All right. Yeah, I think 1.5 is going to be plenty for this. This you can just, I mean, I love salted tomatoes with mayonnaise and like bread. Tomato sandwich makes me happy. So we'll put this aside.
A couple weeks ago, I had a tomato
We'll use that
sandwich
for later.
like 3 days in a row.
What's that?
A couple weeks ago, I had a tomato sandwich like 3 days in a row.
Oh my God, it's so happy. And it doesn't even have to be a BLT.
No.
A BLT is just a bonus, but I love tomato sandwiches. All right, this is starting to get nice and rendered out. All right, we have our onions, we have our tomatoes. We are going to dice half of a jalapeno. Actually, we're going to do the whole one. All right, I like to take the seeds out. I like jalapenos a lot because it gives it like that really green, like vegetal taste. But they're also not too hot. But I don't do spice very well, so I take the seeds out. It's funny, I love spicy food. I wish I could eat spicy food better, but I just can't.
I think you grow out of it.
What's
I
that?
think you grow out of it.
What's that?
Spicy food.
Really? I mean,
Oh, it's more like how it makes you feel the next day. You grow out of that.
oh yeah, you definitely grow out of that. But like, I love Szechuanese food and Thai food and stuff like that. But if I would go to those countries, I would get destroyed. I bet. All right, for the jalapenos, I like to actually let me get this out of the way. Let me turn this down while we're working on this. But that's what we're looking for, though. Nice, rendered a lot of good fat, starting to get crispy. It's not going to stay crispy, but we just really want that flavor in there. All right, so now we're going to, I like to quarter them and then take this little membrane out. But if you don't want to, you do not have to take that out. If you really like spice, or I've just always taken that out. I don't know why. And it's funny, I've been doing this so long, and people ask you, why do you do that? It's like, that's how I was trained. I don't know. All right, these we can throw away. All right. And then we're going to dice these really fine. And if you don't have gloves, please wash your hands with the jalapenos. You can really do a number on yourself. So that's our jalapenos and red onion. Now we're going to do a couple pieces of garlic. I peeled these earlier. And now we're just going to kind of shave. All right, we're gonna check on our andouille. That looks lovely. All right, now we're gonna add all of our aromatics. If you don't have one of these at home, these little bench scrapers, I would suggest grabbing one. They're so good for little things. Like, you never know how much easier life is picking up small things, or just getting stuff off the cutting board makes your life so much easier. They're a great investment, great tool to have in the kitchen. I like to season as I go as well. I think it helps add great depth of flavor.
Jalapeño?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, got me. All right, this is cooled down enough to cut. So we're gonna just take this off of the cob. You don't want to take too much off because there is a part of the cob that makes the corn like really bitter. So I try to just take what it gives me and not try to force it. Because then you can, I'll show you on the next project, which is going to be the fresh corn grits. You can use this and grate this, and essentially we call it corn milk, and it's delicious. And we're going to use that to make the grits. The beautiful thing about corn is there's so much natural starch in it, it will thicken itself up like it would be grits. It's just a fun technique. You can, even if you wanted to, you could puree the corn and pass it through a chinois or like a tammy, and then thicken that corn juice, and it turns into like a very thick pudding. It's like a great sauce for scallops, or it would be great on this, but I wanted to make this a little bit more rustic. I think we're in a good place. Now we're gonna add the tomatoes. Then we're going to season lightly again. Beautiful. All right, we're going to let that stew for a second before we add the corn. All right, now for the corn grits. We're going to take the grater again. It's funny, when Chris and I were talking about doing this, it's like, what is, equipment-wise, what could we get away with? And I was just like, what if we just brought a box grater? And I feel like you can do so many cool things with this. So this is the cob that we took off, and now I'm just trying to get that little bit of extra that's on there. That's all that flavor that if you cut off, it's not very good. Set that aside, and we can make a stock with this, and then from here, just grate all that. Excuse me. This is kind of a messy project. I wouldn't wear your Sunday's best doing this. But it's worth it. You get so much flavor out of this. And it's so simple. All right, that's as much as we can get out of that. And if you can see now, it's just like pulp and just, it's like beautiful corn juice. That will essentially thicken itself.
Oh, so is that getting cooked, or that's
This
the
will
corn
get
grits?
cooked,
Okay.
yes. All right, we just added the corn to the stew. Once again, we just added the corn. We're gonna add just a little bit more seasoning. I'm thinking it's gonna need a little bit of rice wine vinegar, but let's taste it. Yep. All right, so we're gonna add a little bit of vinegar. We're gonna add a little bit of crystal as well. You have a favorite hot sauce?
I mostly use Cholula
I love
for eggs.
Cholula. Cholula's amazing. All right, I'm gonna move this over and then we can start the corn grits. Got it.
Got it.
Got it. All right, so this is super simple and it's gonna cook fast. Put this on low. We're gonna add our corn and corn juice. So yeah, the natural corn, the natural starch in this corn will thicken this up and it'll be like a very sweet version of fresh corn, of grits. But we're just using fresh corn and not the cornmeal. I can't remember who taught me this, but it's one of those things that you kind of keep with you. Well, that's working. I'm gonna grab a couple lemons. All right, I'm obsessed with lemon zest. And again, just like using every part of whatever we can. I'm gonna do half of that for that, half of this. I'm gonna add just a touch of water to that actually. Yeah, there we go. That's looking nice. Just looks a little too dry. So sometimes you just have to add a little bit of water to help. But like, you can see how like thick that's getting. It's like its own little porridge. It almost looks like scrambled egg.
It does. Super soft scrambled eggs.
Yeah, exactly. That would actually be kind of cool. Like fold eggs into that. All right, hit it with a little salt. All right, let's give it a little taste. That's really close. Just a touch of salt. A couple turns of black pepper. And then closer to the end when we're getting ready to plate, I'm probably gonna just squeeze it with like a little bit of fresh lemon. All right, this is almost done too. I'm gonna just cut a green onion.
And all the liquid in there is just the grated tomato, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Brought to you by Schweppes. Just kidding. Lummi Island. No.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I'm gonna add the greens in them right now. Because these are gonna take a little bit longer to cook, a little bit more meaty. Give that a stir. Clams would be really good in this too. Like steamed clams, and you kind of have that, and you could have the piece of salmon sitting right on top. That'd be really dope. Or even little pieces of shrimp, like that'd be awesome. All right, so I'm gonna cut these, and then we're gonna get onto the salmon. What did I do with the... All right. Green onion. All right, that's pretty much done. We're gonna just keep that going. Now,
So are those still on the heat, or did you turn the heat off?
I have, the stew is still on. I have the corn grits off. All right. Now the beautiful Lummi King Salmon is back. All right, I like to take these little white pieces off. That's usually where the spine is connected to the fillet.
Is that maybe what I thought were pin bones? So you met?
Maybe, yeah. But I do cut those off. All right, so now we're gonna check the skin side and see if it has any scales. It has some scales, so what you want to do is kind of just take your knife, run it away from you. I'm gonna do this in the sink though. This sink is so perfect for it. And luckily this cutting board, this is like one of those old, in Japan they have the cutting boards that you use over the sinks so you can essentially spray, and this is perfect for that.
I never would have thought to check for scales.
I mean, it's just some people eat the scales, scale on, but again, that's not how I was trained. So we're gonna do it this way.
Does it change how the skin cooks?
I think you might get crispier, but I mean, you might like choke on them too. All right. So the beautiful thing about this is now you can just. Now you have a clean board. All right, but the enemy to crispy fish skin is moisture. So that was kind of counterintuitive, but you know, we didn't want to do scales. So I'm gonna let that dry out for 1 second. Clean this board. Try this board up a little bit more. Oh shit, I should have brought a fish spat.
I know it's not the same, but I did bring like I think a pretty big like silicone spatula.
Oh, perfect, that'll work.
Just because I wasn't sure if we were using non-stick, and I was just like, plus
Oh, that's perfect.
I don't think my parents have one. But that's like the best kitchen tool, isn't it?
Yeah. All right, so now we're just patting off the skin. We're gonna do this again once we season it. Because seasoning will draw out moisture, and we want to try to elude that. All right, so we're gonna just do a couple decent size fillets. We're probably gonna go for about 6 ounces. That's probably closer to 4.5, 5. But yeah, those look perfect. All right, we're gonna get this on low. Actually, medium high to start. All right. Now we're gonna season. I just do salt on salmon. Actually on most fish, but we can hit it with some fresh ground when it's off, but for the cooking process, I like to just do salt. Some people do white pepper. I have nothing against white pepper. I actually love white pepper, but that's not what we're gonna do today. Some people hate white pepper, and I don't understand why. I've heard a lot of people say it's like, tastes like the farm or something. I don't know. To each their own. All right, so we're gonna do a little bit of oil. It's perfect. And then you want to lay the salmon away from you, just in case the oil pops up. It pops the opposite direction. So now we're going to take our spatula and just kind of press it down so the skin doesn't bow up. Now that we have it pretty hot, we're going to turn it on pretty low to just kind of finish this process. Now, once it relaxes, you can kind of take the spat off. There are some people, there are like, weights that you can put on to hold it down. But I've never had one, and I feel weird about it, so.
Did you start on high to help get the start?
Yep, exactly. But what happens is I think when you start it on high, keep it on high, like you'll get these burned rings around the outside and like none in the middle. So it's just like a poor sear. And I'm like pretty sure I'm in like the 99 percentile of cooking salmon. I probably cooked more salmon than anyone, most people alive, being in Seattle and being a line cook for so long. And I love this salmon. It's from my native land, Washington. So, and I like to do this to try to just kind of get the oil moving around. Yeah, that's gonna be beautiful. All right. Well, that's there. We're gonna give this tomato stew like a taste.
Oh, what plate do you want for this? Big one, bowl? Those behind you or this one?
That'll be nice. Yeah, we're getting very close. Which I like too is like you can hear it. There's so much like in cooking that is like more than just your nose. It's like the sight, the sound, the smell. After so many times doing the same thing and the repetitions, like you kind of have a different knowledge of certain, like cuts of meat or how fish like to cook. And I worked with a friend who said he always likes to talk to the fish when he was cooking it, like, which I've always I think about every so often, like, you're going to be so good. Like, we're going to make you so good. Get crispy for me, like, just always going to make me laugh. Alright, so I'm going to take a little cheese off at the moment. Pick this guy. I mean, lemon and seafood is just so good to get. All right, I think these guys are about ready. Yep. Like, if you can see, it's kind of like evenly coated throughout because we started it high and kind of finished it low and made sure this was kind of pressing it against. I'll get in there.
For reference?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then from here, I'll turn it down even more. Is it oven on? And since we did so much cooking on the bottom half, the top is it's almost done already. If we had some butter, you could throw some butter in there and kind of, I don't like to baste the skin side because we took so much time getting it crispy, but it's nice for the flesh of the fish to have a little bit of butter. But again, it's not necessary. This is going to be done shortly. That's good. So this quality of salmon, I like to cook. I like to eat it at like mid-rare or medium. That's pretty mid. This one's more mid-rare than medium. So we're gonna keep that going. And keep that on for a second. I'm gonna flip it on the other side for a second. Try to get that. I don't know what we're gonna do. We're gonna actually add a little bit of this to the pan. All right. Waiting, we're gonna just add a little bit more lemon to the corn grits. Turn that on, make sure it's nice and hot. Jeez Louise, these burners are something else. I'm gonna stick this right in the middle. Stew. I should put some of these pea shoots down first. Just to give some green, some sweetness. Or a different kind of sweetness than the carrots. Let's crush all of this with crushed pepper. Put salmon right on top. If you can measure, we're gonna just add a little bit more lemon juice. What's that?
That's that?
What's that?
Oh, I thought you were looking for one other thing.
Oh.
All right. What do you think of everything you cooked today? What do you think's gonna be your favorite? Or what is your favorite?
I don't know. I really like the head. I like how simple the teriyaki was. I've done something like this before, so these are tasty. Fried rice is just kind of always fried rice.
Yeah.
I wish I would have brought chili first, though. That would have been really good.